Hey everyone, welcome to the North Georgia Advocate podcast number 11. This is the first one we've had in a couple of months. We got Viral back with us. He's back from his hiatus, and I've had so much personal stuff going on with the holidays and doctor's appointments and sickness and other stuff. We just, instead of trying to fit one in that wasn't a real good or educational podcast, we just decided not to do one at all till we could get all of our ducks in a row. So how does your hiatus go okay there, Vera?
Yeah, it was good couple of months away.
Yeah, it's always good to be able to take some time away and do things. So we've had a lot go on in the last since when you were first on, when like early December, late November.
Yeah, early December. That's when we left, and we just came back a couple of weeks ago. So trying to catch up on everything. I try to keep up with what I could. Being on the other side of the world and whatnot, it's a little bit challenging, but Facebook helps. And then obviously all of the shenanigans because I remember when I left, December 11th was going to be the big meeting.
Yeah, that was like the week before when we had our last podcast.
Yeah, and I believe the data center got withdrawn or something like that. And I'm not sure what other project. I think the one on
they approved
53?
Hazel Mill Road out by Jody White's house. They approved it by a 3-2 vote. The three amigos voted for it.
Yeah, the whole Three Amigos thing was going down at that time too. I remember seeing all the memes of the Three Amigos.
Oh yeah, and then more
the AI generated
here in a little bit, but
yeah,
then on that, then the data center got pulled off the board,
right?
And the reason is that afternoon they were still going to push it that afternoon to like they were people on the site at like 3 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Then they found out that the city, the business part that they back up, the property backs up against, it's zoned for possible data centers.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean it'll get approved. It just means they zoned it for different things, and data centers is one of them. So all they got to do is they were going to have to get annexed in anyway to get sewer and water.
Right.
So now all they got to do is ask to be annexed into the city, and the city pretty much doesn't have a choice but to annex them in if they go by their own UDC,
Yeah.
And so all the data center foes, they thought it was a huge win, but no, they're probably going to have a data center built on that property anyway. And now the county's not going to get the big chunk of the taxes like they were going to before.
Well, I think they would still get a good chunk of it just off the sales tax, because majority of that goes to the county anyways. Because I don't think the city has a sales tax, at least from what.
No, the city doesn't have.
I know, right? So that's where a majority of the tax revenue would come from, is the electrical usage. And if we're talking about hundreds of megawatts of power, that's easily a nice hefty chunk of tax revenue. Now, given that there's no tax incentives or anything, given back to the data centers for bringing those industries here and whatnot. So, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, no, it's
the strategy works out for the developer or not. Withdrawing it.
Yeah, and it's like we talked before, we're not for or against data centers. It depends on how they're implemented, how they're built, and what their goals are, and
right,
what they want to do. And you can't be anti everything. I mean, because what people don't understand is, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but everything we do in our life now is controlled by data centers.
Yeah, I mean this whole podcast right now. Yeah,
your whole cell phone, your whole online life, your doctors, everything you do now is controlled by data centers.
Right.
And it's not, and we don't want these data centers over in Sri Lanka and Singapore and
Well,
Pakistan.
they're gonna get theirs too. They're
Yeah,
gonna get
no,
their
we're
data
getting
centers
theirs,
too.
but we
So
don't want all of our stuff to be moved overseas. We've got
right,
to keep it at home.
right,
You know, even if
absolutely.
we have to build it out in the middle of the Midwest, out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, you
Yeah.
want to keep that stuff home. I mean, you can protect it a whole lot better if it's here. And what's funny is concentration, I call them concentration camps, which is what they are, the detention centers they're building.
Yeah, ICE Detention Centers.
That's the textbook definition of a concentration camp.
Right.
And everybody says to me, well, you need to apologize to every Jew in America or every Jew that's, well, no. The Hitler and them turned those concentration camps into death camps. You can have a concentration camp that's not a death camp, but you can't have a death camp that's not a concentration camp. They're not
Right.
mutually exclusive. You know, and it's targeting Hispanic people, you know, and they paid $68 million for a piece of property that was worth $8 million in 2024.
Well, that's the weird thing is the what is it? What's her name? Christy Nome or whatever her name is, the Secretary of DHS.
Used to be Homeland Security. She got canned.
She just she got canned today, but yesterday or the day before or something like that, she was getting she was having to testify and whatnot. And in the testimony, one of the senators or committee members was talking about the fact that she signed off on a $200-something million, or not, I don't think it was 200 million. I think it was like 150 or 148 or something like that, $1 million contract that was given to a company that was only 8 days old. And of course it goes back to which also has connections to her political days being the governor of North Dakota or one of the Dakotas or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, you add that, and then you add or connect the other dot that ICE had a crazy huge upgrade in their budget in 2025 when from that they got to figure out ways to spend this money. So you can only give so much to signing bonuses and whatnot. You got to launder this money somehow, and I'm going to allege that, Trump didn't get his fair share of that 200 million or all the, from the ICE budget. So she's out the door now.
Yeah.
Something happened. Somebody ruffled the wrong feathers. So
no doubt. And
yep. Because it doesn't make sense for a warehouse that big to be selling for 78 something or, even close to $100 million.
Well,
unless they're going to retrofit the entire thing internally and have it ready for ICE to turn it into a concentration camp.
Well, and somebody said that, they didn't have those buildings on them. You can build those warehouses probably 10, 15 million a pop. Just empty.
Yeah. Those empty warehouses don't cost anywhere near $100 million. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, even with those buildings on it, it couldn't have been appraised at more than 30 or $35 million.
Right.
Worst case, they paid double what it was.
Yeah, that's not either somebody's getting bailed out or somebody's getting, a major kickback.
He's the one pushing it. Andrew Clyde's been down here.
That makes sense.
Everything. That makes sense, yeah. And he's banking on it to keep his job because he's got two people, Greg Poole's gaining ground and Sam Cavillian's gaining ground on him.
Yeah.
And
the whole Greg Poole thing's hilarious to me. Honestly, I see his signs all over Gainesville whenever I drive through, and it's a Trump conservative. And I'm like, that's the slogan you want to run on? That's so sad. But I see your Facebook posts, and I see your posts on North Georgia Advocate and some of the people that comment on it, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, even with everything that's going on, and how in your face they are about it. And granted, this is the same thing that happened under Biden too. So it's not me advocating for the other side or being a leftist by any means. But the fact that you noticed when they were doing it because Fox was telling you that they are doing this and this and this, that's where you formed your opinions. Now, Trump's doing the same exact thing, but I would say even worse. And Fox is telling you, no, he's not doing any of this. They're, it's all fake news. Da, 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 da. And people still don't understand that. Wait a second. Maybe they're telling me a lie too. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the entire political and Epstein class that I'm up against at this point.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm far from a Greg Poole fan, but I'm not anti-Greg Poole either. He does a lot.
Look, he's got some great talking points. I've
does.
heard some of his speeches, I guess you could call them, at some of these events. And I've seen him stand up for the people of Hall County for the last few times. But I've also heard people talk about how he screwed over their neighborhood, and he only looked for himself, and he's using this whole Christian pastor thing to his advantage for the political. And I've seen that 100 times. You know, that whole pastor thing and being a fake Christian works really well in politics in America. But so.
And the main thing I got with him is, I know too many personal people that's tried to contact him. He won't even respond to an email.
Yeah, I've heard that numerous times too. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just hearsay. I know, I've seen it with my own eyes. People call and leave him a message or text, and he don't call them back. He don't get back with them.
Yeah.
And as a district commissioner, you can't do that. I understand you can't respond to every single call or answer every call, but you can at least send them an email or a text message saying,
just a courtesy call back. Yeah. That's the thing with a lot of these guys, though. That runs through the city council too. The only person that ever wrote back to me when I was going through my whole project process was Zach Thompson and Danny Dunnigan. He's no longer with us, and Sam Kuvion. The rest that I reached out to just kind of like flat out ignored me. Didn't even have the courtesy to at least even text me back or anything like that. So
and there's a lot of people on the county commission that does that too. I don't know personally, but I've just heard. And you can't
do that as a county commissioner, though. Like, you cannot do that. Your decisions go a long way, and and it's not just a small city. You're over at this point. It's a major county.
And there's one thing I will give the Board of Education credit for. They do respond to email.
They do respond. That's good. I'm glad.
Every one of them do respond. It may be a canned BS response, but it's still, they took the time.
Hey, I'll take that over, I guess that's where the bar is. So I'll take that over nothing.
And it's not like one of these automatic emails. Hey, we received your email. We'll try to reply.
Right.
They actually say a few lines or something before they put in the canned response. At least they put forth some type of effort.
Right.
And you've got to do that. And that's where we're hoping to get done with all these young people running for the council. Steve Gailey's not young, but he's new back to the board. He was a great candidate. His first 8 years he was on there. He left the council. The commission, came back. Now he didn't even plan on it, but it's just such a dumpster fire now. They need some leadership on that group.
Yeah.
Then you got Tyler Crawford running, who's got some great ideas. He'd be a good commissioner too.
Young too.
Yeah, he's young. He's got, even if it's not this time, in 4 more years, that may be his time. You know what I'm saying? And the same with Corey Anderson down in District 3. He'd be a great commissioner. And I just don't know how well he's going to resonate, because there's so many people that are anti-real estate because of what Kathy Cooper's done. And I'm Norton. Do I think Corey's going to do anything like that? No. I've gotten to know Corey, and he's a great guy, and I wouldn't mind him being my commissioner if I was in his district. But you see the rhetoric that everybody posts, and is it just on Facebook, or does it resonate countywide?
I think at that point he hasn't closed the transaction in however many years and whatnot. So I think he can. I think it would do well for him to just publicly come out and just make a statement one time and say I'm inactivating my
Yeah.
real estate license, you know, and
He
then
has
just
said
do
that
it until
over
elections are over.
Facebook.
And if you get elected, I think, you know, keep it inactive and keep it moving forward.
Yeah. Now he's come out and he's responded on Facebook a lot and
Yeah.
let people know, but I don't know if he's done that on any of his campaign stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
I
know.
think that's got to be like a big branding statement. And I think a lot of people know that now too. So, but again, it's going to be something he's going to have to constantly try to remind people that, hey, look, you know, yes, I do have a real estate license. Yes, it is active, but I'm going to
Hey, I run my wife dentist dentist business now. He runs her office.
Yeah.
And I think the key to the whole thing is going to be, is it like nationally, still 75 to 80% of people still get their information from mainstream media.
Mainstream media, yeah.
And
hey, that's why we are where we are.
Even though it keeps growing, people getting their news off Facebook and everything else, but still most of them trust mainstream media. So,
yeah, but that's just, you know, it's established in their head, and it's hard to think outside of what you grew up on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even on social media, though, they're getting their information from the Foxes and CNNs and BSN, yeah. So it's not much of a change. It's just a different medium of getting that content at this point.
But at least with the social media stuff, you've got the tools where you can research it. It's not just
right.
The people that get most of their news from, you can't say print media. Print media, it's dead for the most part. You know, then they just turn the TV channel or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's really hard. You know, I talk to my friends about this too, because we just talk about the fact that, man, you know, all the stuff that's going on in Palestine and the Middle East and whatnot, and it's like, how do we let stuff like this happen again when you did have a World War II with Hitler doing all the things that he did, and yet here we are, like, we're going through the same exact things. It's all over again, the same exact thing. So it's just one of those things. It's like people are really, it took me a long time too. It's just hard to retrain your brain from what you were like, you know, like it was beaten into your brain.
Yeah.
It's hard to think another way, because when you're told 1 + 1 = 2 your entire life, but then there's new information that says, hey, no, 1 + 1 = 3, and it could potentially equal 3, and then you're just like, wait a minute. Obviously that's super exaggerated, but you get my point. Like it's just so hard to get away from that that mindset. And there's a lady I follow on Twitter. Her name's Lynn Alden, and she said something along the lines of, you know, tribal, you know, people in a tribe will go the easier route, which is, if the tribe changes its narrative or its mindset, they'll change it with it, even though they know it's wrong, because they'd rather be part of the tribe and then not part of the tribe.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. It's like, hey, I want to be part of this MAGA movement, or I want to be part of vote blue no matter who bullshit. And you know, I don't want to deviate from that. I don't want, even though I see that they're doing something completely wrong, but if that means going against the grain in my tribe, I'm not going to do that. And yeah, it's a wild concept to think about.
You see the nonsense I got to put up with in my threads. I mean, you know,
I see it every day. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on now. I mean, these are intelligent people. I mean, I grew up with, and I've known my whole life.
Yeah, no, Chris, that's the thing, man. You always get surprised. I always get surprised, because some of the people that I have some of these like head shaking political debates with from time to time, you know, it's with people that are very intelligent, that I respect. Yeah. And to me, I get to the point where I'm just like, man, like I can't believe this. I can't believe we're having this conversation, because you're way smarter than I am. And it's that open-mindedness, being okay with being the outsider, again, being against your
I'm fine
tribe
with
and whatever else, but it's that deprogramming.
See, I'm fine with it now, but and after 9/11, that's when I started my journey. When I seen both parties come together to take our freedoms away and pass all these bills, then everybody said, "Oh, it'll change back in 4 years or 8 years." No, they kept the war on terror going.
There's never more freedom. There's never more
years.
freedom. There's always less freedom, and they're happy to take it away from you. And look, this is the crazy part. In my tin hat, whatever. The Democrats couldn't find anybody better than Kamala to run against Trump this time around.
No.
All right, that's crazy. So you knew Trump was going to win, and he was going to win by a landslide.
Yeah.
Now, the only people in this country that I would trust my life if a foreign invasion happened would be the red guys. It would be the Republicans, because guess what? They're the ones that are pro Second Amendment, pro you're not gonna take from me, right? Like 100%, right?
Yeah.
Who would these people not push back against if it ever came to the point where, like, hey, give up your guns, it's for your own protection?
Right.
Trump.
Well, and the only the good thing that happened, it's still an atrocity. The ICE raids and the Americans that got murdered during those raids.
Yeah.
At least it made the Democrats, a lot of the liberals, realize, by God, we do need our Second Amendment.
And I still haven't heard anybody say that yet on the left. That's what pisses me off.
Some of them do. Some of the pundits have, saying, look, and but none of the leadership has.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off. And that's how you know they're both on the same side. They're trying to disarm you. Yeah. And you go around and you look. That's one of the reasons there's not a single country that's tried to take over the United States. We have the greatest military and whatever, however many years, but you got the biggest armed population in the entire world. But now they're slowly brainwashing you into thinking, hey, trust us. Because you're MAGA's been sitting back and clapping for ICE. Again, that's a state entity. They're not your friends by any means. That's literally the government. They're killing American citizens just because they're protesting. And look, I don't know the full extent of what happened in a lot of those. I wasn't here. I didn't really look into it too much, but I assume somebody did something wrong. Maybe there's enough evidence for them to justify that shit, but there never is.
That guy that got killed in Minnesota, he was protecting a lady that ICE pushed to the ground.
There you go. And and that's the thing.
And it ends up, they found out a video from 4 days before. He was found kicking an ICE car with his foot. He was kicking it and doing stuff. And they had a hard on for him because they knew he did that. And it ended up, he had his gun with him. He had a concealed carry permit. Didn't even have the gun out.
Right.
And
they cheered it on. That's the crazy thing. I remember being on Facebook when that happened, and MAGA was celebrating it. Like they say, F around and find out.
Yeah.
That's insane to me, that the people that are supposed to be small government and anti-government, very anti-government, small government. Hey, this is an American citizen that you guys just killed, and you're celebrating this because.
And the first thing I say to him is, if Biden was in office and this happened, what would you be doing? And it
exactly. Yeah.
They would be raising hell.
Yeah. And that's and again, that's the thing. They've done such a good job of putting this anti-Trump versus Trump, pro-Trump, left versus right, red versus blue, this whole division amongst the American populace. It's absolutely insane. And that's what I absolutely hated MTG for the longest, but I got to give her props when it comes to it, that she held her ground and she's speaking out against a lot of this now. maybe too little, too late. Who knows? You know, we'll see. But
You know why she got out, don't you? This all happened while you was gone.
I'm assuming they threatened her.
Well, what's happening is the same thing is happening to Thomas Massey.
Yeah.
Trump has went out and paid people to discredit him, discredit all of his businesses. He's paying them to stop doing business with his family's businesses. Anybody that's related to him, he's paying them to quit. He's trying to ruin it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene she's got a family construction company. She's got younger kids. She's got a family to feed. Thomas Massey's daughters are grown.
Right.
And his kids are grown. His wife's dead. He's remarried. And then Trump attacks his damn new wife.
I saw that.
And MTG just can't take the chance of something happening.
Yeah.
I don't blame her for getting out when him putting the full press on. I mean, her construction company.
It's just crazy to. I mean, and it's not crazy to me because I see the people that comment on your post, but then I also have seen the same exact people in real life, and I speak to them, and they're just dumb as a rock when it comes to critical thinking skills.
Yeah, no, and what got me is the whole thing is when I seen how the GOP stole the nomination from Ron Paul in 2012 by changing primary sites at the last minute, not letting Ron Paul delegates into the conventions and the vote at the state level. And that's when I started becoming like I am now. I'm anti-political party, period.
Right.
I mean, I seen it happen firsthand because Ron Paul was the only person on the ballot that could have beat Obama. He polled out better than anybody.
Yeah.
The military was like 80% behind him. I mean, and they railroaded him. And, you know.
It's the same thing it's a Bernie on the other side in 16, I believe, with Hillary.
No, I mean, yeah. No, would Bernie Sanders, would I want him as president? No.
Absolutely not. No. That, again,
but if you look at it, it may be a good thing because most of the left don't agree with him, most of the right don't agree with him. So he'd have got nothing accomplished, and that's a good thing in D.C.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have got a couple of crazy things through. And that's what these people can't realize on the left. Why do you buy into Trump's crap? And all these people buying into Trump and all these local people, Trump, I'm running a Trump campaign, and he's gone in 2 years, buddy. Everything he's implementing is going to be gone. Somebody's going to repeal it. So an executive order, you know. So
I'm not too sure of that. We'll see when 2028 comes. I don't even know. At this point, I'm not even sure if we're going to have elections at that point, but we'll see. I'm that far into that rabbit hole of, are we even having elections at this point in 2028? And if so, who's actually even running?
Yeah.
Because if Massey isn't doing everything that he's doing right now to possibly run in 2028, like we're cooked. I know he's already said multiple times that I have no interest in running for presidency and whatnot, but
I think if he can talk Rand into it, we'll have a Rand and Massey.
Sure, but man, like, why are you just saying no right now? Like, you know, say, well, hey, we'll think about it. Dang.
Because you know how bad the tax would be on him then.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like Dr. Paul.
But that's the thing, man. You have a lot to worry about, in my opinion. What attacks are they going to do? You know, political smear campaign. That's the thing, man. You go look on, and again, I don't know if it maybe matters on your algorithm or not, but like the comment sections on a lot of these political posts, you know, they're pro Massey, they're pro MTG.
Trump's making a martyr pretty much out of Thomas Massey.
Yeah, and they're for him. You know, they're like, why? He's literally the only one that's standing up and doing exactly what you campaigned on, which was America first, and you're attacking him.
Yeah, and they attacked MTG and what these people, some guy was saying the other day that like 30% of the Democrats had said they'd send money to Thomas Massey's campaign.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that shows you what kind of a Republican you got." No, that shows you that at least 30% of the Democrats have got a brain in their head.
That's true. That, yeah.
They're
I saw
breaking
the
with the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
To go to a true conservative. Thomas Massey is a true
conservative. Yeah.
Conservative. There's no true conservatives left in the GOP except for Massey and Paul.
Yeah. The I saw the donation map that he had. I guess whenever he realized that he was going to have a primary challenger and whatnot, and it was like donations from the entire country. It wasn't specifically in Kentucky or anything like that. It was all over the states.
Hey, I sent him a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't a lot, but I sent him a little bit. Every
little bit helps.
$50 here and there helps. I mean, all right. Well, back to the data center thing. Before we get off of it, the same developers that were with the data center, they're the ones that own the property that the detention centers in, that the concentration camps going in.
Do they own it, or did they just have it listed?
They bought it in 2024.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And what pisses me off about the whole concentration camp thing for me, it's one thing to move it here, but it's another thing to not even negotiate with the city or county.
Yeah.
Nobody even, up until, I don't even know, as of Monday, the federal government still hadn't even contacted the Hall County Commission.
Well, I thought one of the issues was also the fact that if they're going to house this many people inside of a warehouse like this, and I believe it's not built on attached to a sewer or something.
It was built. No, it's attached to the sewer, but Oakwood only has a 6,800 gallon capacity a day for it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there was some issues with that too.
The limitations. 93,000 gallons a day.
Yeah, what
the hell is the government going to do? Just build a bunch of retainage ponds out there and filter their own?
Yeah.
They said
I remember that was one of the big issues with the whole.
They said over the next 3 years they're going to spend between $300 and $400 million on that one facility. That's just mind-boggling.
I don't think it ever actually even gets filled up, or even gets to the point where they operate that area with as a ICE.
The only way it gets filled up, and Andrew Clyde will be behind it. And I've been talking to a few construction buddies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They are so afraid that as soon as that thing opens in May, that ICE is going to come in and start raiding every business around in Hall County.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken plants and stuff ain't got nothing to worry about because they're all passed through the vetting system. I can't remember the name of it now. We used to have to go through it when I had my company, but
it's like verify something.
Yeah, it's E-Verify or whatever.
E-Verify, yeah.
And they're going to go to all these construction companies and these farms and.
Wait, so there's an open date now for the detention center?
They're shooting for May 1st. So it'll be operational in 2 months.
Oh wow, okay, interesting.
And Andrew Clyde can say what he wants. There's no way that facility is going to employ 400 and something people.
Yeah.
The county and the city of Oakwood will never make up the lost revenue that he claims it will. But he's claiming they're going to make $15 to $16 million a year off that facility. Ain't no way. Not if them inmates are going to be in there from 3 to 7 days. It's just a transitional facility.
How do they make money off of it? I don't understand this. Like, it's literally taxpayer money paying for taxpayer here. So they're not making any money. It's literally our taxpayer money that's going to, but for one, buy this overpriced warehouse. And then how is it generating revenue? It's not generating revenue. You're literally just taxing people to give the taxes back.
Yeah, that's kind of like the farm when they sell their extra meat to the public.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, I pay for this.
Yeah, we've already paid for it. I mean, and then you have the gall to sell it back to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it just don't make any sense. But back to December, we got that out of the way. Then in the planning commission, they had the hearing, they didn't even have the guts to show up. Their attorney told them not to. They didn't even come in and defend themselves.
Who's that?
The planning commission that was up to get fired.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yep. They did not even defend themselves. They got canned. Then they turned around and sued the county commission, saying it was political and it was a witch hunt and they didn't do anything wrong. And
yeah, that's absolutely asinine, man. Just own it and get the hell on with your life.
I've got their testimony, and I'm been releasing Stan Hunts little by little on the stand. And Greg Poole wanted to have everything that passed that they recommended in those secret meetings to be revoted on.
Right.
Naturally, none of it's going to be overturned. We all know that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's probably already built, done, over with. So
the main one was the Cagle Mill, the most recent one, and Winder Highway, because Kathy Cooper unrecused herself for the second vote on Winder Highway. Yeah.
Well, so what happened with Winder Highway? Did it get approved?
Yeah, 3-2 because Kathy Cooper unrescinded her. Unrecused herself.
So again, the Three Amigos.
Yeah, the Three Amigos struck.
Gotcha.
And then Kathy Cooper promised Greg Poole that she would vote whichever way he wanted on the on the Cagle Mill Road property. She voted against him. That's why it got approved. She had said something because Greg had confronted her about it off the camera, in private. And she said, Greg, and she even said it in the paper, she didn't specifically say Cagle Mill, but she said, if we don't know much about it, probably we just kind of defer to that district's commissioners.
Right.
So, she lied. And then Tony Powell threatened Greg, saying they was going to sue the county commission and him and David Gibbs for saying that they had already made their mind up. They was going to fire the 3 planning commissioners, and they never said that. They said, we've got to have a hearing to find out if they're guilty. If they're guilty, we may fire them. We don't know. We got to have the hearing.
That's the planning commission's attorney? Yeah.
And the planning and Poole got fighting mad. Oh, I thought he was going to stomp a mud hole in his ass right there. He said, by God, buddy, sometimes you get the bull or you get the horn. By God, I guess you're going to get the horn. I said, if you want to sue me, by God, bring it on. And he was, you could see steam coming from his ears. It's a 3.5 hour video, but it's worth going back and watching. Fast forward it till about, you can tell when it starts.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch that December 11th video.
Yeah. And then Poole wanted to have another vote on it because the planning commission actually was telling in those meetings, okay, Stan, you do this, then Frank, you vote against it, and then I'll second this, and then they had it all planned out how it was going to go to make it look like they didn't. There was actually a debate on all this stuff.
So they took the whole planning thing a little bit too seriously.
Yeah.
Planning commission.
And then Stan Hunt tried to throw Zach Sosebee and everybody in the county office under the bus. Hall County Commission saying they all knew about our meetings. Didn't do nothing about it. And then they sued the county. Then Jody's got 3 lawsuits out. One against the county commissioners, one against the board of commissioners, that the 3 Amigos.
Oh, wow.
Yep, she's got one against 3 Amigos. She got one against Hall County Planning Commission. And she's got one against Sosebee, Braswell, and Stan Hunt. And those are March 17th and 19th being heard. We've got a fundraiser up on Spot Fund now to raise. It's going to cost $5,000 just for court reporters and stuff for the hearings. And we raised a pretty good bit of money, but that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Jody and her team, and I've been helping out a little bit where I could. You know, it's a lot of work to get this stuff together. I mean, something's got to show these people that we may lose, but by God, Jody's leading the fight, and it's going to end up being good for Hall County because these people know they just can't go around unfettered anymore.
Right. When's the local election dates?
Let me look them up.
For the primaries and stuff.
May.
Do they call them primaries right now too, or?
I believe so. Hall County, I had it up just a while ago and accidentally closed it out. Let me get it back up. The general early voting starts. It's a primary. Early voting starts April 27th through March 5th. Through May 15th. And the actual election is, let's see, I'm going crazy. May 19th, 2026. So it's late. So middle of May, May 19th is the actual election.
Is that for the same just for the county or for the city
no,
as well?
After the city, county, all that's mandated.
Oh, I guess the county kind of runs all of it though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
And there's only going to be 3 early voting locations. Gainesville Civic Center. 4. Gainesville.
So wait, you only get to vote for District 2 or District 1, or as long as you live in the district, right? It's not like if I live in District 5, I also have a say-so in who the commissioner is going to be for District 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Now you'll get the at-large vote too. You vote for the person in your district and the at-large.
Oh, okay.
Like Jeff Stowe's got the center of Gainesville, that'll be an at-large. So it's not like the board the school board. The board of education. You vote for everybody, no matter what district it is.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But the county commission, no, it's just strictly the district you live in.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, we could vouch for Tyler or for Corey or for
whoever,
Shannon, etc. Like, we're not going to get a chance to vote. I'm in District 2.
We can promote them and help them out. And,
yeah.
Hopefully somebody breaks the ice and get some of this.
Yeah.
And another thing before we move on, Billy Powell, he's missed 4 of the last 5 meetings.
I saw that he doesn't even show up to the meetings anymore.
His attorney told him not to even be put on the record for ousting his buddies.
That's insane.
He claimed he was out of town, but I know several people saw him at Wild Wings when he was supposedly out of town for the meeting to fire his buddies. And he was there for the hearing where they had the evidence and everything out there.
Yeah.
And we got some idiots out there trying to claim he was drinking vodka during the whole thing. That's just crazy talk, man.
Speaking of drinking vodka, what do you think about this whole sheriff getting a DUI? I think we both kind of knew what was going on when he took his little stepping away from duties and whatnot.
No doubt. He's had an issue for a while, and behind the scenes we've known what was going on, but the problem is he's probably gonna walk. If you get down to it, they entrapped him. You can't tell me that his number 2 man and the officer that when they pulled him over, they were out 15 miles away from the Hall County government building just for shit.
Yeah. Well, he's got a blank check in a sense when it comes to his defense attorney too, since we are the taxpayers are kind of footing that bill, right? So
pretty much, and the police union's gonna have to represent him too.
So it's So again, he could be he could do the right thing, which is to own it, resign, and kind of still have a little bit of dignity left, or just full on planning commission this and say I didn't do anything wrong, etc. And
the thing is, it's a misdemeanor.
yeah.
Open container's a misdemeanor. Worst thing that's going to happen to him is if Governor Kemp steps in, he may get a 60-day suspension until they complete the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, those guys that pulled him over, they don't want the investigation because there's a reason. I mean, I get it. That guy's pissed because he's been running the sheriff's office for the past year or however long it is. Don't matter if it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, but there's nothing in that law that states the sheriff's got to be in office every day.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing in that law in the book saying that he's, now there is, he can't be drinking in his county vehicle and driving and stuff. And he got
you shouldn't be drinking and driving, period.
Yeah.
But that's even a bigger mishap when you're doing it in
the key is how they knew. I mean, I know how they knew, I just can't say. Why did you wait till you follow him? Why did you wait till they said in the paper that they followed him for a while and he didn't screw up till he got to the Green Hill Circle, which is right before his driveway. You can't have it both ways. Yeah. You followed him for a while and knew he was drunk and didn't do nothing about it. And then you pull him over in his driveway. Why didn't Couch just tell him to pound sand, go get a warrant?
Probably too intoxicated to kind of process that information.
Yeah, because he was drunk, that's why he didn't. But if he had been thinking clearly, he'd have said, look, I'm on my private property.
Yeah.
You want to search me in this vehicle, you go get a warrant from a judge.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there ain't no judge in this town gonna sign that warrant.
Yeah, but again, though, it's like the damage is done at this point.
Yeah.
The way they found it, the way they didn't find it, etc. Like, I would fight that. I'm on his side because, again, police shouldn't be doing shit like that, period. Yeah. So I'm on his side in that regard. But at the same time, all right, bro, like, the public knows that you were drinking and driving, and you probably have been doing it for a while now. I mean, that's public opinion at this point. You've been in this serving for 40 years, etc. Like, go, just no, don't even own it. If you don't even own it, it's okay. Just resign. Just say, all right, like, I'm done.
Yeah, don't do anything to risk your pension.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to resign. He'd be stupid to. I mean, he may not run for re-election.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I guess how long does he have left? For
2.5 years. He just got re-elected, so.
Yeah.
He's only been in office a year on his new term. It started in January of last year. So
why, I think, if it's that far out for the re-election for sheriff, why is Jerry Ramos already campaigning?
Because the last time he tried to do it the regular way and just start one, and he didn't get any. He's just trying to get his name out there. And just
that's very early.
Yeah.
Very early.
Dude, man, I'd vote for him for sheriff. I mean, he's the runner as a Republican because he's got Republican ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason he didn't run for Republican last time. He knew he couldn't be capped. So the only way to get on the ballot was to run as a Democrat.
Gotcha.
My issue is I'm afraid there's too many white people in this town. I'll never vote for anybody of color or anybody that's Hispanic or, that may be my backwards thinking, but you see a lot of these comments.
I mean, that's I wouldn't say that's backwards thinking. I think it's just rational thinking. Again, I see who comments on your Facebook post.
I don't ever vote for a damn Mexican or blah, blah,
yeah. Well, but again, I mean, I see who comments on your Facebook post when it comes to anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, etc., or just anti-government in general. But because Trump's the president right now, they're all in there. So I 100% get where you're coming from, and kind of feel the same way too.
Yeah, and the thing about Jerry is he's Puerto Rican. He's a freaking American citizen, always has been. there's a big difference in being Latin and being Hispanic. I mean, there's
a possibility he could get the if he focuses on the Hispanic population, the Hispanic vote in this county, maybe you get a bigger turnout in the county, and maybe outvote him. So
as many Hispanics are in this town. They don't. I mean, I'm telling you, the Republicans do not want them to come out in force.
Yeah.
They do not. I mean, I'm not saying it bad, that it'd be a bad thing for them to come out, but it won't be status quo around here anymore. If the Hispanics finally say, look, I've had enough, this Latin crowd gets together, and because a lot of the Latin crowd are Republicans, people all just automatically assume they're Democrats, and they're not. It could change a lot.
You'd be surprised. You speak to a lot of the Hispanic population, and they're also against illegal immigrants and illegal migration and whatever else. And it's a little bit of back and forth on that, because there's one side that's like, you came here illegally and now you're against illegal immigration, but then there's the same ones that are like, yeah, but like, I didn't come here and just start screwing things up. We came here for an opportunity. You guys are coming here to be criminals and do dumb shit instead of building your family up and whatever else. So I get it, because I talked to a bunch of my friends about it too, and like, how do you guys feel about this?
And I got to know a lot about it when I owned my construction company, because the only people that we could hire that would work were Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because every white crew that we had, they all ended up on meth, and they ended up, they'd work good for a week, and then you wouldn't see them for a week.
Right,
yeah. And you can't operate that way. I mean, they were never high on the job, but it's just what they do when they get off.
Yeah.
And the Hispanics, they showed up every day.
Yeah.
And we were careful about who we hired. They had to know English, and they dressed properly, and they had driver's license. I mean, but they showed up and they worked.
Yeah.
And but they don't. I mean, the status quo don't want these Hispanics coming out to vote. They just don't. It'll change not just the county. It may still be red, but the message that it's getting out it'll be kind of like in the early 90s when all the Democrats started turning Republican around here.
Yeah.
When Nathan Deal and all those guys, they moved from being Democrats to Republicans because of how far gone the Democratic Party was getting.
Mm-hmm. Man, if it was that far gone back then, what is it now?
Exactly. That's how far left that the Democrats have gone, and the Republicans have followed right with them. That's why I can't get my friends to understand. You either got fascism or Marxism.
Yeah.
Just depends on which bus you're going to jump on. And I just can't comprehend how these people, even at the local level, how they cheer this stuff on when their guy's doing it, but the other guy does it.
It's a problem.
Against it. I mean, wrong's wrong. No matter what party it comes from. I mean, So, but it's going to be real interesting to see what goes on because this Couch thing's not going away. It's going to blow up.
I think if he gets away with it, or again, I don't know all the facts and whatnot, but if in the public perception, my bad, I'm not even talking. I don't think my mic was turned on.
Yeah, but it's back down. You were gone for about 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was gonna say that just a public perception of the sheriff getting away or not having to face any consequences because of entrapment, or if something else comes about, it's going to be a really bad blow, in my opinion, to just like public trust, because there's already a lot of distrust with the government, every institution of the government and whatnot, and I think that would just kind of make things worse. Well, as far as, man, like, why am I being held accountable for something that these elected officials don't even ever get accounted for? So it's just like the system's rigged. which it is, in my opinion. Again, it's my opinion, but I think it's rigged to an extent. But at the same time, having it slapped in your face like that, you know, it's at least the perception of it being slapped in your face like that too. It's not going to be good.
Well, and one thing that's going to Couch can't win because he's got ties to Kemp. They have the same attorneys or something. I mean, they've got some, and they all need to deal with everything, and they on each other. And everybody's already bringing it up. Well, Couch ain't ever going to get prosecuted because he's friends with Kemp, his attorney, and blah blah blah. And
the good old boy club.
But even if he does get off, and if it ends up he was entrapped and he gets off, they're going to say, oh, it's not the deputy's fault for entrapping him. They're going to say, oh, it's the good old boy network getting him out of it.
Yeah.
No matter what the reality is, it's just the perception of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all we need right now in Hall County is this mess going on top of the planning commission, because that stuff's going to drop. That case may last 2 or 3 years, depending on how long people they want to get it continued in court. And I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know why. And before I got kicked out of the Concerned Citizens group again, for no reason, there was a guy that was in there taking up Stan Hunt because I was posting his testimony in there, and he was talking about how Stan Hunt was a good dude. And I worked with him for 30, 40 years. And,
are we sure it wasn't just like a burner account for Stan?
No, it was I'm not going to say his name, but he's a longtime poster in the group. And
I gotcha.
And he said, I shared the office with Chris Braswell for a long time too. He's a good dude. It don't matter. Good dudes make bad choices sometimes.
Right.
I'm not doubting Stan Hunt and Chris Braswell and Frank Sosebee, they're probably all pretty good dudes. We'd all like to drink a beer with sometime or something, you know. But that don't mean what they did was right.
Right.
And that guy, and I know why they're fighting for a $12,000 a year job, gonna spend $100,000 to do it. Stan Hunt, that according to that dude and the CCG, Hunt had made over $1 million worth of cabinets just for the Norton agents. It's the doors that it opens.
Yep.
It's like being a member of the country club. The people ain't a member of the country club here to go, and it ain't like it is on TV, like you see all the posh, and they go join here to make business contacts.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. I know too many people in it. There's nothing special. It's just there to open doors to other opportunities.
Right.
And they all do business together.
Yeah.
You know, and if he's done $1 million in cabinets just for the Norton agency, what's he done for others?
Yeah.
How much business has he got for others that are tied to the county commission, or, you know, or developers or whatever? You know, and that's just one example. I mean, there's a reason they're fighting this hard for a $12,000 a year appointed job. You know,
people got to do the math.
Yeah, and when the math don't math, then you know something's up.
Right.
At least the county commission, they get a salary now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but maybe we can keep the momentum going and get these guys off. But you got that shit show. Then you got the sheriff's going to be coming up. I mean, that's going to be, there's no telling how deep that's going to go. You know, if anybody else knew about it. And I mean, how many times did he get pulled over? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing darts right now. What made him come out? Did he get pulled over 5 times and they let him go? Did he get pulled over twice? Did he get pulled over 10 times and they let him go? I mean, who knows? How far, I mean, what all's going to come out when they start doing depositions and stuff in this, you know? And it's not a good look.
I mean, it's all of it just kind of falls back on the taxpayers. So it's none of it's good in either direction. None of it's good for the taxpayers.
Just costing us more money and more money and more money.
Yeah. Well, Chris, let me hop off for tonight.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll work, and we'll try to get another one out next week. we'll have some news next week, in the next week or two. Next week there's a couple of good meetings coming up they can check our calendar on the North Georgia Advocate group or the website or the Hall Inform group or website. But don't forget March 17th and 19th, Jody White's lawsuits against the county commission and the board of commissioners is going to be there. And the more public that shows up to support Jody, the more it'll show that judge, hey, this ain't just a disgruntled lady that's pissed. This is countywide.
Right.
It's all perception to a lot of these people.
So it's going to be at the Hall County Courthouse?
Yeah, courtroom 404 on the 4th floor.
All right.
A new judge, some Barry guy, last name Barry. I don't know nothing about him. Nobody knows much about him. He must be a new senior judge in town.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to find out. So, all right, Vera, well, I appreciate it. And we will be back next week. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Good to be back.